Good morning and welcome to today's stream. Now, I don't know about you, but the weather has been fairly good so far this week. It has been a little bit cold. Has been a little bit cold, but the sun's out, and when the sun's out, everyone seems to be a lot happier. So in today's stream, I wanted to discuss lead generation on a WordPress website, because lead generation should be something that you should be concentrating on your website. It should be one of the main calls to action on your website. And lead generation can take many forms, and giving reports, free courses, etc. But how do you actually put this on your website? So that's what I'm going to be going through today. I'm going to show you a free version and then kind of the paid versions on how to do this. So let's get into today's video. So if you don't know me, my name is Jason Kruger, and I help heart-centered businesses build and automate their online marketing systems. Now, I've built many sites for clients, and one of the things that I do urge people to put on their website is lead generation, because without having a list, you're not going to have much of a business. Especially if you're online, you want to be able to promote your services to that list. You also want to be able to give them great information so that they know that you know what you're talking about. But depending on how your website is built, sometimes this can be a bit tricky, especially if you don't really have an autoresponder system either. So the one that I'm going to be going through and showing you today is going to be ACTIVECAMPAIGN. Now, why do I use ACTIVECAMPAIGN? It's the one that I recommend to all my clients because, one, it's easy to use, it's got a clean interface, and you can get your stuff set up and running really, really quickly. So I'm going to show you ACTIVECAMPAIGN and how we connect a WordPress website to this. Now, the reason I'm doing WordPress, again, I build all my sites on WordPress, and I think nowadays at least 40% of the internet run websites using WordPress. Now, there are other services out there like Wix and Squarespace to create your website, and you'll have to have a look at those to see how they integrate with a system like ACTIVECAMPAIGN. Sometimes they will have their own integrations. If they don't, you can just use the forms that ACTIVECAMPAIGN give you to put the form on the website. And that's actually going to be the first way that I'm going to show you how to do this today. So if you do have any questions along the way while I'm going through this today, please leave a comment down below, and I will make sure that I answer those questions for you today. So let me share my screen with you. Got to remember which button it is. There we go. So I'm just sharing my desktop. This is a demo site that, if you've seen a few of my previous streams, it's the same site, and it's one that I'm going to always use to demonstrate WordPress. So some of this you might have seen if you've watched some of those videos. If you haven't, go back on my YouTube channel or on Facebook and have a look. Those streams will be there so that you can have a look at those as well. So as you can see, what we've done here is we've just used a template from the Beaver Builder plugin. And then, again, at the moment, all I have on here is the free versions of these plugins and the theme. So the theme that I'm using is the Astra theme, and I'm using the Beaver Builder plugin. And they are both the free versions for those. And if you wanted to upgrade and get the extra features for that, you can go to their websites and purchase the pro versions. Now, the Astra theme is, I think, something like $47 per year, and the Beaver Builder plugin is $99 per year. But you do get a hang of a lot of features, and I actually will show you some of those features today. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to go into the back end of this WordPress website. Now, I do have Elementor installed on this as well because I've been demonstrating a few things on there, and shortly there should be a video appearing on my YouTube channel where I compare the free version of Beaver Builder and the free version of Elementor. So if you want to have a look at that video, then make sure that you are subscribed to my YouTube channel so that you get notified when I next post a video, and again when I next go live. So I'm now just at the back end of this website, and we're actually going to just create a new page today. So we're going to go to pages, and I'm just going to create a new one for today, and we're just going to call this lead generation, and I'm going to just make sure that that's published. Now, one thing I'm going to make sure is, for some reason, Elementor is live and Beaver Builder is not, so I'm just going to make sure that that is swapped around. Beaver Builder is there, Elementor is just to be deactivated. So just to make sure that I do just have the Beaver Builder Lite version, so you can see that that's there. I do have the Pro version installed, but I haven't activated yet, so that I can then show you some of those Pro features when we get to that. So let's go back to our page. And I'm first just going to click on Edit. Now, if you haven't seen some of the previous videos, I have actually got the classic editor plugin installed, so that this is the kind of the old layout for pages. If you haven't got this installed, you will have the Gutenberg type layout with the blocks and all that as well. And again, that is something that I'm going to do a video on in the near future. So as you can see, we just have the lead generation page, and we just have all these settings and that on here. And what I'm going to do is we are going to just click on Beaver Builder, and that's going to take us to the front end of this page. So we have this blank page, and we can go and build the whole structure of our site here. So what we're going to do, we're just going to do some 2 rows. So we're going to go kind of the classic way of building a lead generation page, where you will just have your bullet points on one side and then have an opt-in box on the other. But what we're also going to do is we're going to add a heading. Now, as you can see, I could just put it in these boxes, but I actually wanted to span across both. And instead of going back and adding a row, I can just take this heading module and just drag it and until it shows me this kind of blue line. So it's telling me that it's going to be a row on its own at the top here. And if I just drop it, it will now actually add in that row for me. So let's just go on here and put a heading. And then we can go in here and style it. So we want that in the middle and click on save. So this is where you'll have your kind of attention grabbing headline to get people interested in what you are offering. Now, what I'm actually creating here is going to be a landing page using WordPress. Now, we could just add opt-in boxes around the site as well, and we can show you, and I will show you how to do that as well. But for this part of the demo, I'm going to actually create kind of a landing page, and people sometimes get confused what a landing page is. So let me just quickly, before we carry on creating this, let me explain what a landing page is. So with a landing page, you are wanting someone to take action on that page, and normally you're just going to have one action that you want them to take, and that's going to be to sign up for your free offering. So report, video, audio, whatever it is that you want to offer them for free. So that's what you want them on the landing page. So you don't want any other distractions on the site. And this is where people get a little bit confused when they are building their landing pages on WordPress, because as you'll see in a minute, there are other distractions in there, and I will show you what those are. And the risk you have is that you direct people to this landing page, but because you've got these other distractions on the page, they might then not actually take the action that you want them to take, which is sign up for your free offering. They might then click on one of the links in the headers or something like that and be taken to another page, and then all of a sudden you've lost that potential lead. So I'm going to show you what we can do using the Astra theme in particular, where we can actually remove those. And when you are looking to build landing pages on your WordPress website, this is where having a good theme comes in handy, because a lot of themes don't allow you to remove the header or the footer of the website, which then again creates those distractions. So when looking at creating a theme or creating a website and looking which themes to use, you want to see if that theme has a type of functionality. And that again is why I build my sites using the Astra themes, because it gives me those that extra functionality to be able to do that. So let's go back to this page. So we've got our heading, and I'm just going to go in here and put in a text editor, and I can go and write my bullet points. So I can go here and put my bullet point, and next one, etc. So I can go and build this all out and have all my bullet points, which is kind of the way that landing pages have always kind of been built. So you could have at the top here, instead of having this bullet point, you could say, in this report you will receive the following. And then you've got your kind of standard layout for a landing page. Now you can also have images of your ebook or the video course or whatever that you're going to give away. You could have that on here as well. So you could put that image in here. Now, using the free version of the Beaver Builder plugin and the Astra theme is that you don't get some of the other functionality. Now, what do I mean by this? So if I go in here, you can see we've got your kind of standard modules. So the basic modules, which allows you to create, quite a lot of your website, but lead generation is not one of them. And if you look at some of the pro features in here, there is a lot more in here, and there is one called subscribe form, which will connect to your autoresponder or CRM system. They do support quite a long list of the different platforms, so you can connect directly into them. But because we're using the free version, we don't actually have that on as an option. So the way that we can go about putting a form on here is if we now go to ActiveCampaign. So this is my kind of demo ActiveCampaign account. And if we go to site, and wait for it to load up, what we can do is we can actually use an ActiveCampaign form. Now, within ActiveCampaign, you might not have this site feature because it is something that you need with a higher up account. So I think it's on the plus version of ActiveCampaign that you will have the full site function. And what do I mean by site is you can create landing pages within ActiveCampaign. And if that's something that you want to have a look at and maybe use ActiveCampaign, if you do have this feature, I do have a couple of videos on my YouTube channel going through how to create landing pages on ActiveCampaign. So if you do have that functionality and you want to use ActiveCampaign landing pages, then go ahead and look at those videos, because that will help you understand how that works. But if you don't and you're going to use WordPress, then all we need is we go to forms, let's create a new form. So we're going to just give this a name, and then it's going to give us these functionalities. So because this is also just the light plan, I don't have these other functionalities that we have here. So we're just going to use this inline form. The action is going to be to subscribe to a list, and we can go in here, and if you have a list in there that you want to add them to, you just add it in there, and we're going to click on create. So that's now been created. And as you can see, this is the form that we have here. So what we're going to do is we could go and add the titles and all that in here if we wanted to. I want to use the stuff within WordPress, so I'm going to just delete these. The other thing they have in here is they've got the full name and the email, and I'm going to change that as well. So we're just going to go to the standard fields, and we're just going to drag across the first name, and that's just going to replace the full name. Now, the other thing that we can do in here is remove this ACTIVECAMPAIGN branding. So if we go to style, go all the way down to the bottom, we can switch off AC branding. Now, there we go. We've now got a form. But to be honest with you, it's not the prettiest looking form, and it's not going to maybe fall within our branding on the landing page. So we can go in here and we can just style it as we want. So one thing we might want to do is actually change the color of this button. Now, if you have blue, you can go and you can put in the actual code that you might have for other buttons that you have on your site. So we're going to change it to blue. We're going to keep it as white. We don't want a border. We could make these a little bit rounder if we wanted to. So if I increase that, you'll see this button is now being rounded. But if you want just normal square buttons, then we can just set that to 0. And you can see that it's now square. And then padding. So we could increase this, and you'll see what it will do. So padding will just increase the padding all around the actual text, which then means that you get a nice bigger button, which, you know, again, you want this to fall in within your own branding, but you do want to have nice big buttons so that they stand out to ensure that people can see them and click on them. So that's going to be the only branding, kind of the styling that I'm going to change on here. The other thing that you can do as well is change what happens when people click on submit. So if you have created a thank you page as well, you can just go on here, click on this area here, and open URL and put in the URL of your thank you page. So you can just put that thank you page in here. The actions that we're going to have in here is we are going to add them to the master list. You could add other actions and add a tag if you wanted to. But if you don't have a thank you page, you could just change, keep this as show thank you, and you can put your own message in there. And once you've done that, all you need to do is click on integrate. Now, there's a few ways that you can do this. Within the embed code, you do have the simple embed, so they give you this bit of code here, or you can have this full embed code, which you can then copy and paste. There is a WordPress option, and you can download the plugin, but when you're using page builders and things like that, the plugin doesn't work that well to put them on your site. So I always look to use the embed version. So what we're going to do, let's just copy this one for now, and you can see the difference between the code. So we've copied that. We're going to go back to our site, and we're going to paste it in here. So what you can do, you can either use a text editor or the HTML block. So I'm just going to drag the HTML block in there, and it gives me this box here where I can then just go and paste the code and then click on save. And now you can see that this has now appeared on my site, and I can click on done. Now, if I wanted to, I could add some more text above here, and it will just be a case of adding a text box there and putting in the phrases, etc. that I want to put in there. So that is a very, very basic lead generation page, or a landing page. Now, before we test this, as I said before, we've got a few distractions on this page, and those are this heading here, because especially if you might be using Facebook ads or something like that, where you are spending money and you're directing people to this page, and you do want to create a landing page. If you are using that type of strategy, you don't want to just send them to your homepage, because to be honest with you, that's just pouring money down the drain. You want to send them to a landing page, and this is what you're going to do here. So we don't want these other distractions around here, because if we spent money to get people to this page, and they now go and click on one of these other links up here, they're not going to opt in to our free offer. And so they're not going to be added to our email list. And we've wasted all that money. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go back to edit this page. And the options that we have here with the asterisk settings. Now, I have already have the disable the title selected. So if I didn't have that, the title of the page would appear at the top of the page. Now, we can go and change that within Beaver Builder, etc., and change the styling and where we place it. So I turn that off, so we don't have that. But the other thing that we can now do is we can disable the headers and the footers. So now that I've got that disabled, I click on update, and let's go and view this page now. Now, all of a sudden, I've got no distractions. I just have the page that I've just built. Now, what you might want to then do is maybe add your logo over here. You do want to maybe add your privacy links and terms of conditions in here. So we can just go back to Beaver Builder and go into the editor and then change that. So we can go in here, add, let's go and add a row. Now, when you do this, I then sometimes do use a kind of a 3-column row, and I'll show you why I do that. And then I'm going to go to modules, and I'm going to go to photo. Now, I'm going to go here, and at the moment, I don't have any photos. So let me come here. I just want to find the logo that I want to add on here without showing you all my files. So I've now just selected my logo. So I have that there. I can now give it a proper title. I'm just going to put my name. And again, we could put that in there as well. So we've now got that. I'm going to say select photo, and that's now placed it in there. So that's a big logo. I don't really need it that size. And that's why I choose to have a 3-column. You could just do it with 2 columns, but sometimes I think 3 columns, this gives me that extra leeway if I wanted to add anything else to it. So I'm just going to click on save. So that's now placed it there. But what I can now do is I can just go here and make this a lot smaller. So for instance, I can just make it that big. And that's just by dragging the column. So I've now got this big column and I've got the small column. So if I wanted to put something else up here, I could do it. If I wanted to put something in here, I could maybe make this a 4-column row, and that gives me that leeway to place things exactly where I want them to be placed. Now the other thing is you'll see here is that we are in a bit of a restriction here. It's not full width. So what we can do is on this row, click on the little spanner, and And at the moment it's fixed width, and I'm going to go full width. So now the row is full width, the content is still kind of fixed, but I could go and call that full width as well, and click on save. Now you can see it's now the full width of this screen. So it's now it's going to resize to whatever screen someone is viewing this page on. The other thing you want to then add is potentially your footer. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to add in rows, and again I'm going to go for 3 columns, and I'm just going to drag it to the bottom. And I could then go and add my text editor module. And you can put your copyright information and all that in here as well. And put in your privacy policy links, etc. And you just do that, highlight it, click on the little anchor, and then you just put in the URL of your privacy policy. And then that just appears down at the bottom. We could then go to styling and make this a lot smaller, because you don't want that to be standing out too much. So we could just go and make that smaller. So I'm just going to choose size 12, and I'm going to put that in the middle. And once I've done, I click on publish. Now, as you can see, it is a very basic landing page, but it's going to do the job. Now, you know, if you've got other information that you want to put on here, like as I said, you might want to add an image. You could make this page a lot bigger. You could put testimonials of people have already kind of read your report and they've given you a great review of that report. You can add all of this and create a much bigger landing page. As I said, this is just a basic one just to show you the functionality of actually adding lead generation to your WordPress website. Now, as I said, the way that I've done this now is the complete free way of doing it. We don't have any other additional plugins to create this form on here. Now, if you do want to find other plugins, and there are free plugins that will do the job, I didn't want to go and confuse you with, you know, all these other plugins. This is a quick and simple way of adding lead generation to your WordPress website if you don't have these other plugins. And it works extremely well. So I can just go in here. I have a test account. And as soon as I click on submit, it's now taken me to an ActiveCampaign hosted thank you page. So as you can see, it's just telling me thanks for signing up, and we could have added more information to that. Again, these thank you pages aren't the greatest looking. So if you do create a thank you page, you can put whatever you want on there. You could put a video on there thanking people for subscribing to your free report, to your list. And then you're creating a much better connection with those subscribers. As I said before, we've used this code within ActiveCampaign. You could have just used this one, and let's go and copy that and show you how this one works. So I'm going back to edit this page, and I'm going to click on this HTML box where this current one is, and we're going to edit it. And we're just going to go and select all of this and delete it, and we're going to paste in this big chunk of code and click on save. And as you'll notice, it's exactly the same form. The difference between these bits of code is that this one, everything is controlled via ActiveCampaign. So the styling, etc., is all controlled via ActiveCampaign. If you have a web developer, they will be able to take this code and make it look a lot nicer. So you'll still be using an ActiveCampaign form, but you can then properly style it to your website. But you do need to know some HTML and CSS to be able to do that. So if you do understand that, you can just use this code and make sure that that form is styled exactly how you want it to do and not within the restrictions of ActiveCampaign's editor. So that is that page, just using the free way of doing it. So let's just make sure that this is published. So this works exactly the same way as before. Now, with your website, and you know, this is currently the home page, you could just go and add in those forms in here. Now, when I styled this form, and we'll go back to edit this form, we had this as a stackable form. Now, if I wanted to change that, I could, on the layout here, click on this button, and now it's side by side. What this allows us to do, now I will probably have to just copy this code again. I'll just save and exit and go back to this page. What that allows you to do is, instead of having this type of layout where you've got the stackable form here, what we could then do is, let's delete that, paste this one in, is we could change this whole layout of this landing page. So what I could then do is click on this and make this its own row. So now the form is down below, which then allows me to go and add a photo in this one. So I'm just going to use the logo photo. So now I can have that in there. Now, if you don't want to use the drag method to make this image smaller, you can go in here and change the width of it. So let's just change this to 300. So as you can see, it's now 300, so it's a lot smaller. But having this in its own row now allows me to do a few things. And actually, I'm going to make sure that it is in its own row, because that is, as you can see over here, is that it is in its own row, but it's kind of a nested row, which then doesn't allow me to do what I'm just about to do. So I'm just going to make sure it's in its own row. We're going to delete this one here, and in this one we're going to go and make it full width, and we're going to make everything full width. Now the other thing we can do here is, you can see there's quite a lot of space between all these elements. Is if you click on advanced, there's a lot of padding, and we can remove this on top and bottom, and you can do that with all these elements so that they are a lot closer together. But to make this landing page a lot more striking, I've now put that as its own row, which then allows me to go into the background here and add a color. So we can go in there and we're like, I don't want it that dark, but then I can just go and change it there. Now with this background here, I could go back into ActiveCampaign and edit it in here so that it has the same color background. So then it all fits in perfectly. So now I have a slightly different layout to this landing page. And again, it's going to be to your own preference on how you want to do this. So you can just go and keep it as the stacked version, or you have it as this side-by-side version. So as I've said, this is the free version of doing this using ActiveCampaign's forms. Now, if you don't have ActiveCampaign, but you're using one of the others, they will have similar things like this, where you can embed their forms on your website. So you can just use those as well. Now, I want to show you how you can integrate it a lot more so that you have more control over the styling of these landing pages and especially the forms. Now there are different plugins that you can add for Beaver Builder. there are two that I use on all my sites that I create, and that's the Power Pack Beaver add-ons, and that gives you loads of different other modules. Now you don't need both of these packs. They are very similar, so it would be a case of just having a look to see which one suits your needs more. And again, they do have free versions, and I have those installed on the site as well. And they give you some extra modules that you could use to create your page and some other styling options. But they do have their paid versions. So their one here on Power Pack is $69, and the one which I would probably say is going to be my favorite one is the Ultimate add-ons for Beaver Builder. And at the moment they do have a special offer, and it's $55 per year. And with all of these, they give you page templates as well, so you could buy these, and they're giving you different layouts and that you can use for your site. So you buy these and you can use their templates as a starting point for your website, and for not a lot of money you could have a stunning website. Now what I've done is I've installed the actual Beaver Builder Pro. It's actually the standard one. The Pro version comes with their own theme, which is also good, but I just normally you just get the standard one and use the Astra theme. You could just use the free Astra theme and buy the actual standard version of Beaver Builder, and you could have a great looking site with those added features as well. So what I'm going to do is on this page, I'm just going to go back to the dashboard, and on the plugins, I'm going to deactivate the light version of Beaver Builder, and I'm now going to activate the Pro version, or the standard version. The Pro version has just got the theme, as I said. So now that I've got this Pro version of the plugin installed, what we'll do is we'll go back to our page we just created, and we'll open it up with Beaver Builder. Now, if I go to these options, you can now see these were the ones that we had in the free version of the plugin, but now that I have the standard or the Pro version, I have all these extra modules. So I have these media modules on there. Now some of these, I think the icon was in the basic free version, but you'll see there are so many more modules that you can now use to add functionality and add other design options to your website. Now the one that we have here is the subscribe form. So if I go back to that and then drag it, and let's add it in here. Now, as you can see, if I go to service, there's all these different services that you can use, and it connects directly into. And what it does is it connects via the API. So you can go to ActiveCampaign and you just give it a name, and you can get your API URL and API key from ActiveCampaign. Now for this demo, I'm not going to connect it because I don't want to show you my keys. But what I'm going to do is we're just going to set it up as an email address. But instead of doing this, if you do have ActiveCampaign or one of those others, you would connect it up via the API. And if you don't know how to do it, when you go to it, it tells you exactly where you need to go to get that information. So now that I've got that service set up, I'll just click on connect. So you can see now it's now connected. And now we can look at the structure. Now at the moment, it is set up as the stacked layout, but for this one we want to do the inline, and it gives us the option to show the name field. We can change the text in the name field, the email field, and then you also have your terms and conditions. So you can have that tick box there as well, and you can use this for GDPR, etc. Then when, because I've just set this up as an email, it's going to ask me for the notification subject, so I can put that in there. The other thing it's going to do is, after someone signs up, what do we want to do? So this is going to be your thank you message or your thank you page. And you can just go and put in your little message in here, and what will happen is when someone clicks on subscribe, this message will then just replace the form and it will just show there. It won't take them anywhere else. But if you do have a thank you page, all you need to do is click on redirect and then put in the URL for your thank you page. But having this, like using this module, is we can now go and style it. So you can see this is what it currently looks like, but I can go in here and change the button. I can change the text of this button. I can add an icon next to it. So could have a little arrow. I can tell it where I actually want it to be placed. The padding for the button, and then the colors. So the text color, let's go for white. We can change the hover color of that as well, and then the background. So for this one, let's do this one as red. So let's choose that one. So as you can see from all these options here, we have a lot more options to style this than we did with ActiveCampaign. The other thing we can set up is we can set up the captcha fields, and this is just to stop spam. And if you want to add that to your forms, then all you need to do is follow these instructions, and you can then get that set up as well, and that will stop people kind of spamming those forms. And then once you're done, you can click on save, and you can see that looks a lot better than that. Click on done, and that's done. And then I just can go in here and test it out, click on subscribe, and as you can see, there's that thank you message. So you could use it this way, or you could use a thank you page. Now if I just refresh this page and have that come back, if we wanted to, we could delete this image there, and we can then just drag this here, then go into the settings and change this to the stacked version and click on save. And now we have that stacked version, and again we put our text in that above it. So this is kind of using the paid version of the Beaver Builder plugin, and as you can see, it's now given us so many more options to create all of these. You can have countdowns, number counters, so it does give you a lot more options to add kind of funky things to your website, to make it more interesting, to get people to go around and click on your website, find out a bit more of what it is that you do. Now, if you do have any questions regarding anything that I have covered today, then please leave a comment down below, and I will make sure that I answer it for you. If I go here, you can see there's the Power Pack modules and the ultimate add-ons that I was telling you about. Now, what I've done here is I've activated the full version of the ultimate add-ons Power Pack. These are just the ones that they give you. So they give you a few extra things that you can add to your website that the free Beaver Builder plugin doesn't give you. So you could see you could add extra things without spending any money. But if you do go and you buy, let's say, the ultimate modules, then what you can do is go down to here. They have a whole section on lead generation. So you could use their subscribe form instead of using the one from Beaver Builder. So you could basically use the free version of Beaver Builder and buy this one if you wanted to. And what they also give you is the modal pop-up. Now, what's a modal pop-up? So instead of having the form directly on your website like this, you could have it as a pop-up. So if I just add it in here, and let's say we want to, let's just give this, we haven't got a title. Let's add a title, and let's just call that demo. And we're just going to have that centered. And if I just pull that there to the side, you can see what that's starting to look like. So when someone clicks on your button, this is what's going to pop up. Now, when it comes to adding other things to this, at the moment it's set as content, so you could just write something in there. You could potentially just embed the ActiveCampaign code in here if you wanted to. You could embed videos. It gives you a lot of options of what you can do. Now, the way that you would embed your form is you would basically go here. So let's take a step back. Now, let's say we've created this form here. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to save this as a module, which then means that I can then have this as a saved module. So when I go to other parts of my website and I want to add this form on other pages, I don't have to set it up from scratch. So I can go in here and click on Save As, give it a name. You could set it as global, which means that if you make a change on one page, it will then make that change to all the other pages as well. So I'm going to set that as no. I'm going to click on Save. So that's now saved as a saved module. Now, if you wanted to do this and place this on another page, just click on this little plus again. And then instead of looking at these modules, you can go to Saved. And you can see, there we go, lead generation. And all you have to do is click on it and drag it across. Now, if I go back to what I was doing before with the modal, so we go back to the modal one and let's add that again. Because I kind of exited it, didn't save it. So we'll just quickly go through this again. And under content, now I can go to saved modules. And let's see if it's found it. No. Okay, so what I'm going to do, let's click on save, click on done, publish. And what I'm going to do is let's just refresh this page. So that's now been refreshed, and we'll go back into the Beaver Builder editor. I'm going to go back to this modal button, click on it. And now if I click on saved modules, there we go. Lead generation is now there. Now with this, I could go and change the size of this box. So let's say we wanted this slightly bigger. The padding around it. The color, the overlay color, so this is the color that appears around the side. Then the display settings, so we've got that as a button, the text in the button. And then again, we can change what that button looks like. So let's make the text white. And then let's see, the background color. Let's just, so it's different, let's make this blue. And once we've done that, you could close it. The close button, this is this button here. So this is this little cross here, and that's going to be the button. If people click on it and they don't want to put in their name, they can just click on that and it will close the modal. So once I've done that, I'm going to click on save, and let's click on done and publish. So now, instead of having this subscribe box directly on the page, and you wanted to add in the image, etc., but you just wanted the button there, you could just do it this way. So use the modal, and then you click on the button here, and as you can see, here's that form that's now appeared. You can put in your details and it'll do exactly as the other form did as well. And if they didn't want to do it, just click on that and it closes that. So this again gives you other options to create your landing page how you want it to do. Now, yes, you do need to buy the extra plugin to be able to do it, but it also gives you all those other design features that you can add to your website. So those were the two kind of different ways of adding lead generation to your website. Just using the natural forms from your autoresponder or CRM system, and just use those forms and style it within their platform, and then just take their code and put that on your website. Or you can do it using the extra Beaver Builder plugins and their paid versions to be able to add those extra features to your website. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. And if you did, if you're on YouTube, can you do me a favor and click on the subscribe button and click on the notification bell as well, so that you get notified when I next post a video and when I next go live. And if you're on Facebook, give the page a like as well, and you'll get notified when I next go live or I post any other information on there. And you'll also be able to click on the little notification to say that you want to be notified when I next go live. So if you like this content, please do that. And I now also have a free membership where I will be posting a lot of these videos from YouTube and Facebook to this membership site, so that all my content is all in one place. There will be some other exclusive videos on there as well. And within this platform, it's different to all the others in that, yes, I could just leave all my videos on YouTube, but the problem with that is if you're trying to search for something, the issue you have is that it will only bring up the title or maybe the description that you've put in there. Within this free membership site, if there is a specific search term that you're looking for, and I have said it during one of my videos, you can actually type in that term and it will find the video for you. But not only that, it will take you to the exact point when I mention that as well. So it just allows you to go directly to that information, no scrubbing through videos to find out that information that you are looking for. So if that is something that interests you, and it will hopefully help you with your online marketing, WordPress, landing pages, etc. As I said, videos will be added to that on a weekly basis, so it's going to be a massive repository, going into the future as all the content is added to it. So if that does interest you, then please go to jasonkruger.com/free, where you'll be able to sign up for that. So I hope you enjoyed today's video and that it was useful for you. And I'll see you on the next one.